Hello and welcome to the Question Marks News on ITV1. Today, the headlining news: what are teenagers like and what do people think of them? Media shows that 84% of crimes that are made by teenagers and 16% are of teenagers accused. So are teenagers as bad as the majority of media makes out? We asked a few people what they thought of teenagers aged 13 to 19 years old. This is what a few said.
My opinions on 13 to 19-year-olds is that you can't really generalise teenagers in that group because everybody is different. There are all different kinds of teenagers and everyone's an individual, so I couldn't really categorise them into one group.
I've got good opinions on people our age. People think that they're bad because they just sit and play video games and take drugs, but that's not true. I think there's nothing wrong with our generation.
My opinions on students aged 13 to 19 are that everybody of that age is wanting really to fly the nest.
Why do teenagers have a negative stereotypical view?
I think it's just a phase of just growing up really. They just follow some of their friends might be a little bit negative and they just copy them really.
I think it's not just teenagers, it's every kind of age group looks at another one differently. For instance, teenagers and young adults will kind of look at old people, for instance, and say, oh, they shouldn't be on the road, and oh, they're just a waste of air, and coffin dodgers and all of that stuff. And then they'll look back on the youngsters of that kind of age and they'll be like, oh, bloody chavs and young whippersnappers. And I don't know, I think it's because young people generally have a lot more fun.
Do you think TV influences teens?
I don't think teenagers are influenced much by TV in the way how they act. Maybe slightly younger than that, they probably are, but I don't think they are from that age.
I think that TV influences some teenagers, depending on the individual, but it could also influence anyone, not just teenagers.
Do you think parents help influence their teenagers?
I think they can influence it, definitely. I think generally if they're good parents and basically look after the person of that age group, then they're going to be a generally better person. Maybe work harder, and just if you've got a balanced home life, then chances are you'll have a better sort of working or studying kind of life. If you're a bad parent, then chances are it's going to rub off on them a little bit if they're not a very strong character.
Why do adults dislike teenagers with hoods but are fine with the elderly wearing hoods?
I think it's because, going back to influences and stuff, for instance, you associate, kids with hoods up and that kind of thing is just troublemakers generally, because that's what you see in things like newspapers and the like. But for old people, they're sort of portrayed as quite frail and weak, and you almost sort of tend to feel a bit sorry for them, kind of thing.
I think that adults tend to class them as somebody who's going out to cause trouble, whereas with the elderly, I think they try to ignore it, being as they consider it to be cold.
It's a fear factor. You've got a hood up, you do get a lot of muggings that happen, and therefore they're not going to be identifiable if somebody creeps up behind you, in front of you with a hoodie and takes away one of their possessions. So there is a fear, inevitably, and it's much nicer to be able to see people's faces. One of the main important things about being able to see somebody's face is that you can see what they're thinking and how they're feeling. And if you've got a hood up, that takes away that aspect. So you can't really read the messages that other people are giving you.
I think teenagers with hoods up gets a bad image because it looks probably quite aggressive and you can't see their face, so it looks like they're up to no good, but sometimes it just means that they want to keep warm.
Only 56% of crimes that are accused to be teenagers are found guilty. The other 44% are innocent or an adult is found guilty. Thank you for watching the Question Mark News. Join us next time for views on the elderly. Bye bye.